Riley, and I'm a designer at Make Fashion EDU. Make Fashion EDU is storytelling, self-expression, and advocacy through wearables, design, and technology. Welcome to the Level Up Your Photos with Easy Photoshoot Hacks session of our 3-part Halloween series. One of my favorite things about Halloween is that I get to see all the creative costumes and characters people imagine themselves as. It's like walking through a million stories. This year, Halloween will be different for me, as I'm sure it will be different for you too. It is important that we all stay safe during the pandemic. Although I won't be able to hang out with my friends and see all the costumes in person, the good news is that I will still be able to hang out with my friends and still enjoy everyone's costumes online. Because sharing is a meaningful step in my maker process, I have invited Mike Shaw, Make Fashion's EDU photographer and videographer, to share some tips on how to make expressive photos from the comfort of your home and the environment around you, so everyone can be a visual storyteller.
Happy Halloween, makers! So, you've made an awesome project. Now what? Just set it aside, wait for the next thing? Of course not! This is your big moment. This is the big reveal. This is your time to show off all your awesome creation in all its glory. And sharing is a really important step in the maker process. No, I think it's the most important step. I'm Mike Shaw. I'm a photographer and video maker for Steamhead and Make Fashion EDU, and I'm going to show you how to make some great photos at home in order to share your work. And I gotta say, photos are really powerful. A good photo makes the difference between saying, "Hi, I'm wearing a paper hat, and this is the opera," "I am a magical creature," or whatever it is that you want your project to say. I'm going to help you share your paper projects today. But actually, the real reason is because Halloween is coming up, and everyone knows Halloween is the best holiday ever. I know, it's going to be different this year, but we're still going to have a good time. Do you remember how I said sharing was the most important step? Let's ask a Make Fashion EDU veteran, Haley, how creating a project for the runway changed her project and how it felt to be heard.
Sharing my work has made me realize that I matter. I can be heard. I can express myself and advocate for what is meaningful to me. It has made me realize that I'm not alone. In sharing my work, I have found supporters, friends, and allies. And never have I thought in a million years that my work would be as impactful or inspirational to others. Putting myself out there is scary. It's a scary thing. But I have learned that feedback is a powerful thing. Learning how to take feedback has only made me stronger and better. In short, sharing improved me. I want to add that where I am today did not happen overnight, of course. I did not know how to design, use electronics, let alone how to walk a runway. I learned it one step at a time. And I'm still learning. I encourage everyone to just start. Explore, share. How something looks is not just as important as the story. The story means more.
Take a look at these students. They're just standing in front of a black curtain in their school cafeteria, but you never know it from the photos. And we transported them into this sort of elsewhere world using staging. Staging means creating a space for the subject of your photo using lights, background, and framing. Framing is just a fancy word for controlling what's in the photo and what's not by moving the camera around. A neutral backdrop, like the one you see in these photos, allows the subject to stand out with no distractions. And the subject in your case would be you in your outfit. You look like you're in an empty void, like you could be anywhere or nowhere. A neutral backdrop is the simplest and most time-tested thing to do when you don't want to distract from your main subject. You have just something plain in the background that doesn't draw the eye. So a neutral color would be something like black, white, tan, earth tones, nothing that's too bright or too patterny, things like that. Use what you have. A black sheet or black curtain would be ideal, but you may or may not have that in your house, and I wouldn't stress about it. If you want to take full body shots or crouch on the ground, you're probably going to want another sheet or piece of cloth to put down so we don't see the floor or the rug. We want to be completely elsewhere. The bigger the backdrop, the better, because you want to get as far back from that background as possible so you don't cast a shadow on it, and so we don't see too many details like wrinkles in the sheet itself. Also try to keep any house stuff out of the frame because it kind of spoils the magic. Okay, now it's time to hang up that neutral backdrop, and here's the point where you might want to get an adult that you trust to help you out because you don't want to damage yourself or your home. So I'm going to hang up a sheet onto an existing curtain rod using some clips, but curtain rods are not that strong and they're not as attached to the wall as you might think. So be safe, okay?
Okay, so I got my curtain up. It's a neutral color. I'm feeling good. What's next? Can we take some photos?
Totally. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right. So how should I pose?
Just act natural.
I'm look good on Instagram.
Yeah. Just be natural. Just relax.
Help me out. I don't really know what to.
Okay.
I don't really know what to do.
Yeah, just okay. First, just shake it out. Relax.
Okay.
All right, we're just gonna just hold our hands in a natural position, like you would stand.
Okay.
Like you would stand, like like a powerful kind of stance.
Okay.
Or no, that's not right.
Not really.
This is a photograph. We want to pose. This is all wrong. What do you do with your hands?
Oh no. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Who knows what to do?
We better call an expert. Haley, help us.
Calm down, boys. Posing is an essential part of visual storytelling. Keyword being storytelling. Before you start posing, I want you to remind yourself, what's the story you're trying to tell? What emotions do you want your audience to have when they see your picture? What message do you want your audience to walk away with? Once you have that, explore how every detail of your body can express what you want it to express. Personally, this is super fun. Snap a few poses and review them on your camera, or go stand in front of a mirror. Now, let's check out portraits of other designers. How does this position of the entire body add to the visual story? How does the facial expression change the feel of the picture? What if it was a big cheesy grin? Would this picture feel different if the head was tilted another way? What if the arm was positioned differently? Would it feel different if the hand was limp? Visual storytelling is powerful. Just think about a memorable scene in your favorite movie. How were the facial expressions and positioning of the actors' bodies essential to this scene? I hope this helps. Now, go have fun practicing your posing, and I can't wait to see your pictures.
If you use a real place, it needs to look like your subject belongs. It needs to be a place that reinforces the theme that they're trying to communicate with their outfit. Oh no, I've been trapped in a cage! Or, I'm just using regular places and some simple props to create elsewhere. Simple trees and bushes can stand in for nature, rainforests, whatever you like. Find a place that's out of the direct sunlight. Direct sunlight's going to cast some really harsh shadows on you, so if you can find some shade during the day, your photos are going to come out looking a lot better. Your other option would be to shoot in the evening, right around sunset time. Blurry backgrounds are a great way to keep the focus just on your subject and have all the rest of the background disappear behind you. If you have a fancier iPhone or Android phone, look for a portrait mode. It can make blurry backgrounds in software. This is just another tool in the toolbox. Don't worry if you don't have anything fancy, I just wanted you to be aware of it. Lighting is the most important part of good photography. You could have all the fanciest cameras in the world, and bad lighting could still spoil your shots. After all, a camera is just a device that records light. With very little light, a photo will be very grainy if the camera can see anything at all. Light is also responsible for the shadows and highlights in your photos, and I'll show you later how that can drastically change the look and mood of a photo. So, grab your lamp or any other kind of bright movable light source. We're going to be making a simple bounce board that can make any light look good. Okay, this is a bounce board. It is a big, white, rigid thing that we can bounce light off. and it serves two main purposes: turning a harsh light into a soft one, or turning one light into two lights by redirecting some of the light back at the subject from a different angle. Think of a bounce board as a less shiny mirror. And just like a mirror, light will bounce off of it at the opposite angle. So light coming in from above and towards me strikes it, and now it's going down and away from me. Keep that in mind because the light from the bounce board won't be as obvious as the light from this mirror. And that's a good thing, by the way. We're not using a mirror because we don't want a bright mirror-shaped reflection on our subject, and because we want to soften the light with a process called diffusion. That makes the light kind of fuzzy, because the surface of the bounce board is rough and imperfect compared to the smooth, shiny surface of a mirror. You might already have something at home that would make a good bounce board. A big piece of white foam core, some stiff art or construction paper like this, or even a big piece of styrofoam. If not, we're going to make one out of a big piece of cardboard, some printer paper, and some tape. We're just going to lay the paper out onto the cardboard to cover as much of one side as possible. And then I'm going to tape it down. The cardboard's going to give us some nice rigidity to stand up and stay put. Otherwise, it'd be too big and floppy to hold still. Any kind of stiff board will work. And we're done. Shining a bright lamp directly at you is going to make these really harsh shadow lines. So if we instead turn it around and into our bounce board, then we have this nice soft light. Move the board around along with the light to get different kinds of looks and effects. Think about how each position makes you look, and how does it change what the photo communicates. In a traditional photo, where the goal is to look good, you want to get the light above your eye line and offset 45 degrees to one side like this light, and not too close to you. This would be good for projects that communicate beauty, strength, power, or glamour. Light can make you look really different from other more extreme angles, and we can use the bounce board to play with using both hard and soft shadows together. Let me show you some. With the light above you, this could highlight some interesting features of your headgear. And this direct light kind of looks like standing under a street light. And then use your bounce board to shine some of the light back at your face so that we can still see you in the photo. Like that. A harsh light close beneath you is your classic campfire spooky story look. But if you move the light away and then bounce it back at you, then you start to look like a confident superhero. I'm gazing over the city, surveying the landscape. With the light behind you, this one's kind of the trickiest, but you want to block the harsh light with your body and then bounce some of it back on your front side so we don't lose all the details. Now, doesn't that look mysterious? Maybe you're a bad guy. Maybe you're just someone who moves through the shadows of the night. Okay, time to put it all together with some examples. If you want to repeat anything, you can go back in the video using the chapter markers. And there's more resources on our website for the things I've talked about today, as well as what James and Carrie talked about in their sections, and be sure to watch those. All right, well, I've got my studio all set up here, and I want to walk you guys through a demo photo shoot so you can see how I go through the process. I have my neutral backdrop hung up behind me here. I have my lamp. I have my bounce board, and I'm going to use my cell phone as my camera because I want to try to mimic the kind of basic situation that you might have at home. But feel free to use any equipment or supplies that you want to, be creative and make it your own. So we're going to do a photo shoot for Carrie's Chinese opera headpiece. Come on out, Carrie.
Hey, Mike.
Hello. Your headpiece is so cool.
I know, and it's kind of hard to get through doorways.
All right, it's a little impractical. So tell me a little bit about what you think your headpiece expresses. What kind of character do you want to be?
Well, so this was inspired from Chinese opera, and I love Chinese opera for the stories they tell and the beauty and the martial arts. But this, it was inspired by the females in a lot of those opera pieces. The females are generally, a protagonist. They're generally strong. They generally, solve a problem. So this particular one, I kind of was just thinking about headpieces like kind of signify where you are, your status,
Mhm.
in dynastic China, like your status in the community and in society. So I was
Yeah.
thinking about an empress,
Oh.
what she would do in present day America, where you have the power to make choices, but you also have to be thoughtful about your populace and your people.
Cool.
So the big and imposing, it's okay,
Hmm. So
royalty,
yeah.
and the little garnishes and the flowers, kind of signifying the element of thoughtfulness and bringing beauty maybe back into the community.
Okay, so I'm thinking about some keywords that we want to express. So we have a person that's royal, that's strong and thoughtful, so a little serious maybe, but still a feminine figure who's in charge and responsible for her people. Okay, those are some good things to go off of. So I think we'll try to take some photos that make you look powerful and strong and perhaps a little bit mysterious or a little bit beyond the normal, because it's a big piece and it makes you look like extraordinary.
Well, yeah, I think strong but kind, right?
Mhm.
Like definitely a position of privilege, but also very thoughtful about those that aren't.
Okay, so maybe we'll try not to be too serious. So those kind of steps I would go through with your project. Think about when you designed your headpiece, what kind of emotions and what kind of character you were looking to express, and then base your photo shoot off of that. We want the photo to just reinforce those same themes you thought about when you chose your design. Okay, let's get started. I'll take some photos. I'm going to turn off my studio light here. Okay, so for these first few shots, let me set up my lighting so we have some nice, soft, diffuse light. I got my lamp over here, but if I shine that directly in her face, it's going to cast these really harsh shadows, and it's not going to look good. So I'm going to point it down and away, and then put my bounce board here against the lamp so that it bounces back up at her. Okay, that's without it, and now with it, just like that. So I'm going to stream my camera phone to the computer there on the left side of the screen so you can see what I see and what I'm looking at and what I'm considering. We'll try one of the first and easiest tricks for a photo shoot that makes this photo look like not a normal photo, which is it's not going to be a straight smiling and you're not going to be looking right at the camera. Look over here to my right, your left. And as though you're looking off into the distance and thinking deep thoughts. I'm still seeing a little bit of the curtain, so I'm going to pick my tripod up and shoot a little more down. Okay? I feel like a lot of times when we think of strong characters, we think of like superheroes with their hands on their hips. Why don't we give that a little bit of a try? All right, so I think maybe that's not appropriate for the character. How do you feel?
Definitely not. But I think maybe it's a good time to do a little bit of research. That's what we do during photo shoots and runway shows. When we're kind of at a loss and we need some more inspiration, we kind of look it up. So I'm going to pull out my phone, go to Google, type in Chinese opera, and I see it reminded me a lot of the Chinese opera actors and actresses are actually acrobats and martial artists. So there is a lot of poses where the hands are like this. Let's see, poses where they're getting ready for a battle or holding a sword. And also a couple of great shots of just close up in the face to capture some emotion. So I think I got good ideas.
Okay, let's try some of those out.
All right, so I saw on Google there was a lot of like playing with angles and hand positions being like this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really know what to do with the other hand.
Yeah, I would kind of support. Don't grab yourself. That looks defensive. So just hold it out down below you. Just float it in the air.
This? Like this?
Yeah, just hold it in the air. It's like it's a
baby watermelon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's really cool.
a lot of like one-footed things that I can't do.
That's fun.
No smiling.
Okay. Oh, so I see my phone is adjusting so that the background looks really bright and the lights are getting overexposed. So I'm going to do a long press on your hat so that it stops doing that. That's a exposure and focus lock. Okay, so we've got you sit it down now, and we'll take some photos here. All right, so first things first, you got to sit up straight and be proud.
Oh,
I don't think any empresses are going to be slouchers.
Not in their spare, and only in their spare time.
So one of the reasons I've come down here is because if the camera is low and we're looking a little bit up at you, it's going to make you look bigger and more imposing. So a lot of times when you see superheroes and kings and things in photos, that we're looking up at them a little bit because they're like bigger and taller than us, bigger than life. So now I want to try out the portrait mode. It's zoomed in quite a bit more because of the lenses it uses.
And is it okay, like, to, put yourself in front of a mirror and just practice knowing where your face, your eyebrows, and expressions are? Because I'm not very aware of, what my face does or how, like, something like this might look versus something like this. So,
yeah, that's a good idea. So now I want you to look down a little bit. Tilt your head down. There you go. And this is a little bit more of a feminine pose of sort of thinking to yourself, sort of an introspection, down and away. There you go. That's nice. From this angle, I can get a pretty good view of some of the tech on your headpiece. So why don't I try and capture a little bit of that? I think that people are going to be curious as to how your headpiece is lit up. So let me try and get in close here so we can see some of these lights a little bit better. And they're real bright. So again, I'm going to do this exposure lock so they're not quite so bright. Okay. Looks nice. So now I want you to kind of look down at me. There's this, yes, you're powerful and strong, and you're not sure that you approve of these, what your subjects are up to. Okay, and go ahead and look at the camera. Oh, that's serious. You mean business. Like I said before, a good way to distinguish photos from just being a normal photo is to not have someone facing directly into the camera and waving. But sometimes looking directly at the camera can be very intense. So, use it sparingly. All right, so I want to experiment with putting the light above you and bouncing it back. I think it could make some really dramatic light. So we got the lamp up above you there, and we'll bounce light from below so we can still see your face. And keep your head straight, but look over kind of here, maybe a little lower. Yeah, there you go. All right, I like that. Let's move the light behind her. So it's behind her head. Yeah, and we're going to get some really interesting glow from that. Okay, move the lamp a little up. There you go. Okay, and Carrie, look at the camera. Very royal, very royal. I think that's pretty cool. So for a more dramatic effect, I'm going to put the harsh light to your side here, and then I'll cross over and just set this bounce board here on this side of her. Turn your head a quarter turn towards the light. There we go. We have some interesting shadows at play here. All right. That's quite nice. All right, for this next phase, I want to have you review some of the photos we've taken so far. so that we can make sure that these photos are expressing what you wanted your project to say.
Cool. Feedback session. Oh my gosh. This one, I wish I saw it beginning because slouch, I look like I am bored. I look like get me out of here.
I think we were just getting started here. So here we started having a little bit more fun.
Like smiling.
I think in this one, I think I took a picture before you settled your face here.
But the hand, I kind of like that we did research, because like the hands speak a little bit more to it.
Okay, so here's where we got into some of the better kind of martial arts poses where you were being pensive.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it would have been helpful if I did this in front of the mirror first. Like my hip placement and my shoulder placement, I feel like could have been better. Like the angles.
Yeah, I think on a photo like this, I'd probably crop it to about your waist so we see your arms and the upper body.
I see.
So we can draw some focus to the headpiece.
I see.
Okay, these are fairly similar. All right, here. I think that looks kind of regal. I think having your body one way and your head another way is I think that's very kind of elegant.
Yeah, the facial expression like is way better in this one. Maybe also it speaks like, where's my dog? Is my dog okay?
No, I think your face expression is nice in this one. I think it speaks to your character.
All right.
So here we're looking up at you. So I saw that with your head tilted back, we were losing some of the headpiece. So then when you tilt your head forward, then we got a little bit more of a visual on the headpiece.
I do want to say that the light is captured in a way where it makes things look illuminating. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Instead of like, it's a light, it's an LED, look at me.
Yeah, I think because some of the LEDs on your head are so bright that they're definitely making themselves known and being very prominent, and having this softer light from beneath you is really nice, I think. Here is turning a little bit down so that we still have the strength of looking up at you, and you have this huge headdress, but here you're being a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit thoughtful, some of those kind of characteristics we talked about.
Well, it's like I'm reading a poem.
Yeah. Now that I think is intense. Looking right at the camera, you feel like that. You feel like that intensity of like, I'm looking at you.
When it's lunch.
All right. And here we started experimenting with the light positions.
It looks very different.
Yeah, so I took a few of these, but here there's definitely more an air of mystery, like there's something mystical happening.
Right. I definitely get that feel from this is the overhead light.
I think I like that the best. It looks quite powerful. It gives you sort of this aura around you.
It definitely provides more detail.
Mm-hmm.
This tight, like the lighting it's less soft.
Mm-hmm. And then we did some dramatic lighting where you look kind of like you're on stage or in a kind of strange scenario. It's like it's not often you see one big bright light coming straight from the side. So we're casting some shadows on you, and then with the bounce board filling in from the side.
Okay, that's definitely a different feel. Like from here, it kind of looks like, all right, my empire is falling. I definitely like feedback sessions because I know what to improve, and I think a couple of feedback that I've taken from this is the lighting makes a big difference where it is. Facial expressions make a big difference, and posture and positioning of shoulder and hips, I think actually will make just being more aware.
One thing we can do here is we can do a couple of quick edits in camera that can potentially enhance these photos. So they have an auto adjust, a brightness adjust. So maybe we bring in a little bit more light and a little bit more contrast to a photo like that. So now we can have done so.
Cool.
Some simple adjustments can go a long way, and you can do those right in your camera.
Cool.
A photo like this, we might end up wanting to crop a little bit. So we're going to bring it in to be much more focused upon your torso. Then we are going to, I think, be much more focused on what we want to be focusing on in the photo.
Yeah, cool.
Cropping is really powerful.
Cool.
Okay, well, I think that about wraps up our photo session, Carrie. How do you feel?
I feel good. I learned a little bit more about how to wield my camera phone to take more expressive portraits, which I have never really done. So, in Make Fashion, I'm always running around and doing things and getting people ready, whether it's for the runway, but I've never really been behind the camera, so I learned a lot.
That's a good experience. And I hope all of you learned something from watching our little session here and apply the techniques you've seen here in all 3 of these classes and make some amazing projects of your own. And I hope that you'll share them with us.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mike. We just learned how simple adjustments to the background and lighting can improve your pictures. And we learned how being thoughtful about how to pose is essential to visual storytelling. I can't wait to see all the stories and expressions you will create. Share your costumes with hashtag MakeFashionEDU and hashtag MakerCamp. If you would like more ideas on wearable, head to makefashionedu.org. Don't forget to submit your costumes to Make Halloween Costume Contest. Level up your costumes with our 2 Halloween sessions. One is create a dramatic headpiece to add to your costume with just only paper and cardboard. Make Fashion creators Carolee Young and Twyla Busby will show you how to do that. Add a touch to your headpiece or any wearable with the circuit with our innovation director and Make Fashion engineer James Simpson.